I'm Brian Van from SportBikeTrackYou.com, and today we're going to put a front Spiegler Rennsport stainless steel brake line kit on the 2013 STG project bike. We did something pretty cool for this too. We're going to use those dripless quick disconnects down at the calipers. You know what? I figured Valentino Rossi has that shit on his bike. I should have that on the giveaway bike too, just because I think they're amazing. Always wanted to try it. I thought, what a better opportunity than on the giveaway bike. The Rennsport kit itself, we're going to cover that as I show you the parts, right? The Rennsport kit is where it starts as a single line up at the master cylinder and then branches off to a double line for each caliper. Just keeps it nice and tidy up here at the controls. I like that look and feel. I'm going to begin this by taking all the fluid out of the system. I want to get this thing as close to dry as I can. And that in turn is just going to keep the job a little bit neater, right? Realistically, there's not a lot of need to change the fluid on the bike because the bike's never had the brakes applied, never been ridden. But we have to nevertheless as part of the actual line replacement. So, got my handy air assist bleed system. Go ahead and empty out the master reservoir. We're going to come down here to the master cylinder itself. And down to the calipers and empty it out. Really a pretty simple procedure. This is a nice tool. It's great to have an air compressor here in the shop. It's something I certainly appreciate. It makes life a lot easier. Okay, we've got all the fluid out of the bike, right? We still need to get the factory lines off. Let's just give you an overview right now of this Rennsport kit. Remember, I've modified this, right? I had them make a change and build it so that it would accept these quick disconnect fittings. I mean, I've always wanted these on a bike. I don't know that I have a good reason for having these on the bike, but I've always wanted these because I just thought they were so amazing. It's a simple fitting, it's a dripless fitting. You are supposed to be able to disconnect these, right? And then reconnect them without bleeding the system, zero fluid loss. And they just look badass too. It changes what they have to do to make the brake line, okay? This is going to be a tapered fit. There's no need for Teflon tape. You don't put any of that kind of stuff on there, okay? It's a tapered fit, tapered seat. You're just gonna go ahead and thread the stuff together and tighten it up, and you're gonna get a perfect seal. But that is the fitting. These are both gonna be down by the calipers. What they did to really simplify my life is each one of the fittings is marked left caliper, right? Master cylinder, and then we have right caliper. So that is the line kit. It's really cool on its own. It comes with everything that you need, right? We've got our banjo bolt kit here. It also has a mount, a single mount, and that is going to go up under the triple tree. To remove the brake lines on this bike, obviously, got to break the fittings loose here. Okay, we have these metal brackets here at the fender. This one has a little offshoot that helps hold on to the wheel speed sensor. It's part of the TCS system. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do away with these metal brackets. They don't need to be there at this point. The lines are going to free flow, and we need to take and unbolt the lines from underneath the bottom triple. I'm kind of lift this up a little bit here. And if you want to come over here, Josh, you'll be able to see right here where that line kit fastens. So we're going to go ahead and undo that 8mm. Got to undo it down here. Undo the brackets both sides, undo it at the master. When we come back, we'll have everything stripped off, and we're going to begin the installation of this kick-ass Rennsport Spiegler brake line kit. All right, I've got the brake line kit on. The Rennsport kit is on. I've got everything snugged up, including the quick release fittings. Absolute, that is MotoGP money right there. I love that. And we're ready to bleed it now. The fluid that I've used for a long time, really like this stuff. The Motul RBF 600, I've had great success with it. We're gonna continue to use it on that bike. So I cracked open a fresh bottle of the 600. Now, we're going to begin by bleeding the brake system. I have the reservoir full, I've got the cap off. I'm going to use, right, an air assist bleeder. This thing is really nice. It makes life super simple. It turns bleeding into a one-person operation. I'm going to begin at the bleeder furthest from the master cylinder. It's going to be over here on the left side of the bike. How this works, really simple. It seals tightly over the bleeder screw, right? Venturi effect. I'm going to go ahead and open the bleeder screw while I have the air on. And you can see, I don't know if you can catch that or not with the lighting, Josh, you can see the fluid starting to trickle into the hose now, and it's going to catch it all in the catch can. Now we're going to go up to the master cylinder and hit the screw up here. It's, you know, pretty much all the current model bikes, they've got a screw up here on the master. It really makes bleeding the system a lot easier when you do have access to a screw on the master. Essentially what I've done with each one of the screws is I've run the reservoir down just above the actual fluid intake. We've hit all three screws now. I'm going to go ahead and see what kind of lever, or if we have a lever. And we do have a pretty darn good lever right now. It's very nice for stock. I'm going to pump the brakes a few times, and I'm going to go back, and I'm going to hit each one of the screws just a little bit. What I like to do too is once I'm completely done bleeding the brakes, before I go home tonight, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a zip tie, a cable tie on the brake lever around the handlebar. It's going to hold the master in the open position, and then what will happen is if there are any small air bubbles in there, overnight they'll work their way to the top, and that will really get that lever just right. And that's kind of a cool little trick that you can use to really get that perfect lever. When we come back, I'll have the brakes all bled, I'm going to have the fluid level set, and we'll just kind of go over what we've done here with the Rennsport kit on the R1. Okay, everything's bled, got a nice lever, right? Remember the trick that we're going to do with the zip tie later, we're going to let it sit overnight and just finish that off perfectly. Now I want to fill the brake fluid reservoir. This is the final time we're going to fill it. You can clearly see we've got a lower mark, we've got an upper mark. The reason it is that way is to compensate for pad wear. The pads in the bike right now, they're stock and they're brand new, and I'm actually going to run the stockers for the first time. I hear they're really pretty good on this R1. Considering that, we need to make sure we have a good amount of fluid in there to compensate for pad wear. What I don't want to do is overfill the brake fluid. What it can do is if you have it overfilled and it gets warm, right, it cannot allow the fluid to push back into the reservoir, right? Create a little bit of a hydraulic lock, and we want to avoid that for obvious reasons. So I'm going to let it hang a little bit under the full, like that. Not a lot, just a little bit, so that way I don't have any issue with that moving forward. Okay, brake fluid's topped off, everything's good to go. Reservoir sock, like we spoke about earlier, that's number one, it's cool factor, right? I got a nice driven one here, it's badass, I love it, love driven, money, all kinds of cool stuff from those guys. Keeps the sun off the brake fluid, which is actually good for it. My brake fluid's never in there long enough to have an issue anyways, I bleed them constantly. Let's review what we've done. Rennsport kit, we've got a single connection up here at the master cylinder, keeps it nice and tidy. We put the quick disconnect fittings down here by the calipers. I've just always wanted these, and I thought, man, you know, doing it on the giveaway bike is money. Look at that. There's not a drop of brake fluid coming out of there. It feels exactly like it did before. The routing of the lines, you know, I really took some care in that. If you want to come up in here too, you can see that the Rennsport kit for this bike actually came with a hoop to hook it to the factory hold down for the factory brake line kit. All right, I've got that done too. Got it routed over here, nice and clean, right? The sweep, everything's good. Remember, the lines need to be a little bit long to compensate for the fact that when you're riding, the forks can extend all the way. All in all, what do we think? I think Spiegler makes the best brake line product out there. That's what I've used exclusively on my bikes for a long time now. I really enjoy the product. They do a great job. I like the customization of the colors that's available. You can see I obviously went with red, white lines. Matches real nicely with those quick disconnects. Replacing the brake lines on the bike really enhances the braking system. It makes a huge difference. It eliminates fade. It gives you a lot better feel, which translates to better riding, more confidence. This is the Spiegler Rennsport brake line kit install on the 2013 STG project bike.